Welcome to Mind Decoded, where we reveal the hidden psychology behind everything you do. Have you ever met someone and felt an instant, almost magnetic pull toward them? Maybe it was within the first 5 seconds of seeing them across a room. Or maybe it was during a conversation where you couldn't explain why, but you just felt drawn in. You barely knew anything about them. You didn't know their background, their interests, or their story. But something in your brain just clicked and said, I want to know this person. And here's the thing. You probably convinced yourself it was random chemistry, unexplainable magnetism, maybe even fate or destiny. But it wasn't any of those things. That instant attraction, that unexplainable pull, that feeling of being drawn to someone without understanding why, it's not magic. It's not luck. It's not cosmic alignment. It's pure psychology. And today, I'm going to decode exactly what's happening in your brain when you feel attracted to someone. Welcome to Mind Decoded, where we reveal the hidden psychology behind everything you do. In the next few minutes, you're going to discover the real, science-backed psychological reasons you feel attracted to certain people and completely indifferent to others. You're going to learn why some people capture your attention effortlessly, why certain personalities feel magnetic, and why your brain makes split-second decisions about who you're drawn to before you even consciously realize it. And I promise you, once you understand the psychology behind attraction, you'll never look at your own feelings the same way again or even chase people blindly. You'll start noticing connected patterns everywhere, in yourself and others, in every interaction you have. If you have not subscribed to Mind Decoded channel yet, I think this is a good time to click that button and subscribe. So, here's my question before we dive in. Think about the last person you felt genuinely attracted to. Can you explain why? Was it their looks, their personality, their energy? Or was it something deeper, something you couldn't quite put into words? Keep that person in mind as we go through this, because by the end of this video, you're going to understand exactly what your brain was responding to. Before we break down the 8 psychological principles of attraction, let me explain something crucial that most people completely misunderstand about attraction. Attraction is not random. It feels random because the process happens so fast and so subconsciously that you're not aware of what's actually occurring in your brain. But attraction is actually a highly organized, deeply systematic process. It's a complex calculation your brain performs using biology, evolutionary psychology, and subconscious pattern recognition. Your brain is constantly scanning every person you encounter, looking for specific signals. It's searching for familiarity, evaluating safety, detecting compatibility, assessing chemistry, and even analyzing evolutionary advantages that would benefit your survival and reproduction. Now, I know that sounds clinical and cold, but this is literally how your brain evolved to function. And here's the twist that makes this so powerful. Most of this evaluation happens before you can consciously process it. Think about it. You meet someone and within seconds before they've even finished their first sentence, you've already formed a gut feeling about them. You either feel drawn to them or you don't. You feel comfortable or uncomfortable. You feel intrigued or indifferent. And you didn't sit there and consciously analyze them. It just happened automatically. Your eyes noticed micro patterns in their face and body language. Your brain recognizes subconscious cues in their tone, posture, and energy. Your nervous system responded automatically with either attraction or neutrality. This is why attraction feels so mysterious. You're experiencing the output of a massively complex psychological algorithm, but you're not seeing the code that's running in the background. So today, we're going to expose that code. We're going to break down the science of attraction into 8 powerful psychological principles. These are the subtle signals, the hidden factors, and the subconscious mechanisms that make you feel drawn to one person but completely neutral toward another. And we're going to start with the very first thing your brain does when you meet someone, before they even speak a single word. Principle number 1. First impressions and the power of thin slicing. Here's something that will blow your mind. Within the first tenth of a second of seeing someone, 1/10 of 1 second, Your brain has already made an automatic, subconscious judgment about that person's trustworthiness, their intentions, and their attractiveness. This is called thin slicing. It's your brain's ability to form rapid, surprisingly accurate impressions based on extremely limited information. Let me break down what's happening in that first tenth of a second. Your brain is processing thousands of data points simultaneously. You're noticing their posture. Are they standing tall and open, or are they slouched and closed off? You're noticing warmth or coldness in their facial expression. Is there a softness around their eyes, or is their face tense and guarded? You're noticing how open or defensive their body language seems. Are their arms relaxed at their sides, or are they crossed protectively over their chest? You're even noticing micro-expressions, tiny flickers of emotion that last less than a fraction of a second. And here's the absolutely wild part. These snap judgments are incredibly hard to change. Once your brain forms that initial first impression, it creates what psychologists call a first impression fingerprint. And every single future interaction with that person gets filtered through this fingerprint. If your brain decided in the first tenth of a second that someone is warm, trustworthy, and attractive, you'll interpret their future behavior through that positive lens. They could make a mistake, say something awkward, or have a bad day, and your brain will excuse it or barely notice it. Because your first impression fingerprint says, this is a good person. But if your brain decided in that first tenth of a second that someone seems cold, untrustworthy, or unattractive, you'll interpret everything they do through that negative lens. They could do something kind, and your brain will question their motives. They could smile, and your brain will wonder if it's fake. This is why someone who makes a great first impression continues to seem attractive for weeks, months, even years afterward. Your brain already made the decision. I like this person. I'm drawn to this person. And now it's looking for evidence to confirm that initial judgment. So what creates a positive first impression? 3 main factors: openness, warmth, and confidence. If someone's body language is open, meaning their posture is relaxed, their shoulders are back, their arms aren't crossed, their face is soft and approachable, your brain interprets that as safe and attractive. If someone's expression has warmth, meaning there's a genuine softness in their eyes, a natural ease to their smile, a sense of calm friendliness, your brain registers them as trustworthy. And if someone carries themselves with quiet confidence, not arrogance, but a grounded sense of self-assurance, your brain sees them as high value. And here's the practical takeaway. You have about 1/10 of a second to make a first impression on someone. 1/10 of a second. That's not enough time to say anything clever or impressive. So your first impression is almost entirely nonverbal. It's all about energy, posture, expression, and presence. And this leads us directly into principle number 2. Principle number 2. The language your body speaks without words. Attraction is deeply nonverbal. In fact, research shows that up to 93% of communication is nonverbal. That means the words you say make up only 7% of how people perceive you. The other 93%, it's your tone of voice, your facial expressions, your gestures, your posture, your eye contact, the physical space you occupy, the energy you project. And when it comes to attraction, your subconscious brain is constantly reading body language, scanning for signals that indicate interest, openness, confidence, and compatibility. Let me give you specific examples of what your brain is reading. The way a person stands. Are they standing tall with their chest open, or are they hunched over, making themselves smaller? How they position themselves in relation to you. Are they leaning in slightly, closing the distance between you, or are they leaning back, creating space and distance? Whether they mirror your movements. Mirroring is when someone subconsciously copies your gestures, posture, or energy. It's one of the strongest indicators of rapport and connection. Whether their feet point toward you. This sounds oddly specific, but psychologists have found that when someone is interested in you, their feet will unconsciously point in your direction, even if their body is angled away. All of these cues communicate attraction, interest, and connection without a single word being spoken. and your subconscious picks up on these signals instantly and automatically. Open body posture signals confidence and emotional security. Relaxed shoulders signal that someone feels safe and comfortable around you. Genuine smiles, the kind that reach the eyes and create crow's feet, signal trust and warmth. Mirroring your gestures and energy signals subconscious connection and rapport. Eye contact, specifically soft, warm, engaged eye contact, not intense staring, signals openness, vulnerability, and interest. Humans evolved to read these signals for survival. Thousands of years ago, you needed to know within seconds whether a stranger was a threat or an ally. So your brain developed the ability to read body language at lightning speed. Today, we're not evaluating physical threats anymore, but that same mechanism is still active. And instead of using it to assess danger, we're using it to assess chemistry and compatibility. You're not imagining that instant pull you feel towards someone who just feels easy to be around. That's your brain recognizing familiar, safe, open body language. Your nervous system is literally relaxing in their presence because their nonverbal cues are telling your subconscious, I'm safe, I'm open. You can trust me. And this is why you can meet someone who's objectively attractive, but feel absolutely no chemistry with them. Because chemistry isn't just about looks. It's about whether your nervous systems feel safe and synchronized with each other. It's about whether their body language speaks the same emotional language as yours. Principle number 3, scarcity and the psychology of value. This is one of the most powerful and most misunderstood psychological triggers in attraction, and it explains why you're often more drawn to people who seem slightly out of reach than people who are immediately available and eager. Here's the principle. When someone is selective, confident, and not easily impressed, your brain interprets them as high value. Scarcity creates desire. Not because you're shallow or manipulative, but because this is how human psychology has been wired for millennia. Let me explain why this happens. In evolutionary terms, resources that were rare were often more valuable. Fresh water in a desert, shelter in a storm, food during a famine. Your brain learned to prioritize and desire things that were scarce because scarcity usually signaled quality, importance, and survival value. And that same psychological mechanism applies to people. When someone is not constantly available, when they have a full life outside of you, when they're interested in you but clearly don't need you to feel complete, your brain interprets that as, this person has high value. Other people want their time and attention. They're selective about who they let into their life, and they chose me. Let me give you real-world examples of how scarcity affects attraction. A person who doesn't text you all day long, who has their own hobbies, their own friends, their own pursuits, becomes more intriguing than someone who's always available and waiting for your response. Someone who chooses to spend time with you but clearly doesn't depend on you for their happiness feels more attractive than someone who seems to need you in order to feel whole. A person with a full, purpose-driven life seems more valuable and magnetic than someone whose entire world seems to revolve around you. Now, here's the critical distinction, because this principle gets misused and manipulated all the time. This is not about playing games. This is not about pretending to be busy when you're not, or ignoring someone to make them chase you, or being cold and distant to seem mysterious. That's manipulation, and it's transparent, and it backfires. What we're talking about here is genuine scarcity, authentic independence, real fulfillment. The most attractive version of this principle is when someone is genuinely interested in you, genuinely enjoys your company, genuinely wants to spend time with you, but they also have a rich, full, meaningful life outside of you. They have passions, they have goals, they have friendships, they have purpose. And because of that, their attention feels valuable. Their time feels like a gift, not an expectation. The attraction is strongest when someone is interested but not dependent, present but not needy, engaged but not consumed. This balance is magnetic because it signals emotional health, self-sufficiency, and confidence. And those are three of the most universally attractive qualities a person can have. Principle number 4, the similarity principle and why opposites don't really attract. People love the idea that opposites attract. It's romantic. It's dramatic. It's the plot of 1,000 movies and books. The shy person falls for the outgoing person. The logical person falls for the emotional person. The adventurer falls for the homebody. And yes, in the short term, opposites can create intrigue, novelty, and excitement. But here's what psychology and relationship research actually shows. You are far more likely to feel sustained, deep, long-term attraction to people who share your core values, your emotional rhythm, your communication style, and your worldview. This is called the similarity principle, and it's one of the most well-documented findings in relationship psychology. Let me explain why similarity creates attraction. Similarity equals safety. When someone shares your values, your sense of humor, your pace of life, your way of processing emotions, your brain interprets that as low risk. You don't have to constantly translate your thoughts or explain your feelings. You don't have to justify your worldview or defend your priorities. You're speaking the same emotional language, and that creates effortless connection. Here's what you're actually attracted to when you feel drawn to someone similar to you. Similar humor. You laugh at the same things, which creates instant bonding and shared joy. Similar emotional maturity. You process conflict, stress, and vulnerability in compatible ways. Similar communication style. One person isn't overly direct while the other is indirect and passive. You're on the same wavelength. Similar life goals. You both value career growth, or you both prioritize family, or you both want adventure. Your visions of the future align. Similar pace and energy. One person isn't constantly rushing while the other wants to slow down and savor. You move through life at a compatible speed. Now, does this mean you need to be identical to someone to feel attracted to them? Absolutely not. Healthy relationships have differences. Different hobbies, different strengths, different perspectives. But those differences exist on the surface. At the core, at the level of values, emotional needs, communication, and life vision, similarity creates the foundation for lasting attraction and connection. Because similarity means fewer misunderstandings, more emotional alignment, and a sense of being truly understood. And here's why the opposites attract myth is so persistent. Opposites do create initial spark. Novelty is exciting. Someone who's different from you introduces you to new perspectives, new experiences, new ways of seeing the world. And in the early stages of attraction, that novelty feels thrilling. But over time, as the novelty wears off, what sustains attraction is compatibility. And compatibility is built on similarity, not difference. This is why so many relationships that start with that exciting opposites attract energy eventually struggle. The initial spark fades, and what's left is two people who don't actually understand each other's core emotional needs. Principle number 5. Reciprocity and the power of being genuinely liked. This principle is simple, but it's incredibly powerful, and it explains why sometimes you develop attraction for someone you weren't initially drawn to. Here's the principle. Humans are wired to reciprocate emotion when someone shows you genuine interest, attention, kindness, and appreciation. Your brain lights up in response. This is called the reciprocity of liking. And even if you weren't initially attracted to someone, their consistent, authentic interest in you can make them significantly more appealing over time. Why does this happen? Because attention feels rewarding. When someone listens to you, remembers details about your life, asks thoughtful questions, shows genuine curiosity about who you are, your brain releases dopamine. And dopamine is the neurochemical associated with pleasure, reward, and motivation. So their attention literally becomes addictive. But it's not just about dopamine. Reciprocity also boosts your self-worth. When someone clearly values you, respects you, enjoys your company, it validates your sense of self. It makes you feel seen, appreciated, important. And that feeling is deeply attractive. And perhaps most importantly, reciprocity creates emotional safety. When someone consistently shows up for you, when they're reliable, supportive, and genuinely invested in your well-being, your nervous system relaxes around them. You feel safe. And emotional safety is one of the most attractive qualities a person can offer, because most people go through life feeling misunderstood, overlooked, or undervalued. So when someone makes you feel truly seen and appreciated, it's magnetic. Here's a real-world example of how powerful reciprocity is. You meet two people. Person A is physically attractive, charismatic, and impressive, but they're distracted when you talk. They forget details you've shared. They don't ask you meaningful questions. They're charming, but you don't feel particularly special around them. Person B is less conventionally attractive, but they listen intently when you speak. They remember your stories. They follow up on things you mentioned weeks ago. They make you feel like you matter. Who are you more likely to develop real attraction for? Person B every time. Because attraction isn't just about what someone looks like or how impressive they seem. It's about how they make you feel. And when someone makes you feel valued, seen, and appreciated, that feeling becomes inseparable from your attraction to them. Principle number 6, presence as the ultimate form of attraction. One of the biggest factors in modern attraction, something that's become increasingly rare and therefore increasingly valuable, is presence. Full, undivided, deeply engaged presence. And in a world where everyone is constantly distracted, constantly half-present, constantly thinking about the next thing, someone who is fully present with you stands out like a lighthouse in the fog. Let me explain why presence is so magnetic. When someone is fully present, not scrolling on their phone, not glancing around the room, not mentally planning their next sentence while you're still talking, not distracted by 100 other thoughts, they create a sense of connection that most people rarely experience. You feel like you're the only person in the room. You feel like what you're saying actually matters. You feel heard, not just listened to, and that experience is intoxicating. Here's what happens in your brain when someone gives you their full presence. They listen deeply, without interrupting, without trying to fix you, without waiting for their turn to talk. They ask thoughtful, curious questions that show they're genuinely interested in understanding you. They make you feel understood, not just heard. They reflect back what you've said. They notice your emotions. They see beneath your words to what you're actually feeling. And when all of that happens, your brain releases oxytocin, the bonding chemical. Oxytocin is what creates emotional attachment. It's released during deep conversations, during physical touch, during moments of vulnerability and trust. And presence triggers oxytocin because presence communicates safety, respect, and genuine care. This is why you can feel more attracted to someone who makes you feel deeply seen than someone who's just physically attractive but emotionally absent. Because presence creates emotional intimacy, and emotional intimacy is the foundation of real, lasting attraction. Think about the people in your life who you feel most drawn to. I bet they're not the people who talk the most or try the hardest to impress you. They're the people who make you feel most yourself. The people who listen without judgment. The people who create space for you to be honest, vulnerable, real. That's the power of presence. It's emotional magnetism. Principle number 7. Why opposites intrigue you but don't sustain you. We touched on this earlier with the similarity principle, but let's go deeper, because the opposites attract myth causes so much confusion and so many failed relationships. Here's the truth. Opposites intrigue you, but they rarely sustain long-term attraction and connection. Why? Because long-term relationships require compatibility, and compatibility is built on alignment, not contrast. Let me explain the difference between intrigue and compatibility. Intrigue is what you feel when someone is different from you. They have a mysterious lifestyle. They think in ways you don't. They expose you to perspectives and experiences you've never encountered. That difference creates curiosity, fascination, excitement. And in the early stages of attraction, intrigue feels powerful. It feels like chemistry. But over time, intrigue fades, because intrigue is novelty-based. And novelty always wears off. Compatibility, on the other hand, is what sustains attraction over years and decades. Compatibility is built on shared values, shared emotional needs, compatible communication styles, compatible attachment patterns, and compatible visions for the future. It's not about being identical. It's about being aligned. Two people can have different hobbies, different careers, different tastes in music or food, and still be deeply compatible. Because those surface differences don't create conflict. But if two people have incompatible values, one person values freedom and independence while the other values closeness and routine, or incompatible communication styles. One person needs to talk through emotions immediately while the other needs space to process, or incompatible attachment styles. One person is anxious and needs constant reassurance while the other is avoidant and needs emotional distance. Those core incompatibilities will eventually create friction, misunderstanding, disconnection. And this is why so many passionate opposites attract relationships burn out. The initial spark is intense. The differences feel exciting. But once the novelty fades, what's left is two people who fundamentally don't understand each other's emotional worlds. And that's exhausting. So if you want to build lasting attraction, look for alignment. Look for someone whose core values match yours, whose communication style feels natural with yours, whose vision for life complements yours. The spark will still be there, but it'll be sustainable. Principle number 8. How to naturally increase your own attractiveness. So we've covered the psychology of what makes you attracted to other people, but let's flip the script. How do you make yourself more naturally attractive without manipulation, without pretending to be someone you're not, without playing games? Now, here are 8 psychology-backed habits that will genuinely increase how others perceive you. Number 1. Improve your posture. Open, upright posture signals confidence, emotional security, and approachability. Slouched, closed posture signals insecurity and discomfort. This is one of the easiest and fastest changes you can make. Number 2. Maintain soft eye contact. Not intense staring, which feels aggressive. Not avoiding eye contact, which feels insecure. Soft, warm, engaged eye contact that says I'm present, I'm interested, I'm safe. Number 3. Mirror subtly. When someone you're talking to leans forward, you lean forward slightly. When they speak slowly, you slow your pace to match. Mirroring creates subconscious rapport and makes people feel connected to you. Number 4. Use people's names. This sounds simple, but it's powerful. Hearing your own name activates reward circuits in your brain. When someone uses your name in conversation, it makes you feel seen and valued. Number 5. Be genuinely curious. Ask real questions. Listen to the answers. Show authentic interest in who someone is, not just what they do. Curiosity creates connection, and connection fuels attraction. Number 6. Create a full life. This goes back to the scarcity principle. When you have hobbies, passions, friendships, goals, and purpose outside of dating and relationships, you naturally become more attractive because your attention and time become valuable, and because you radiate fulfillment, which is magnetic. Number 7. Speak slowly and calmly. Fast, rushed speech signals anxiety. Slow, calm speech signals emotional stability and confidence. And emotional stability is one of the top traits people find attractive across cultures. Number 8. Build presence. Put your phone away. Listen without planning your response. Make people feel like they're the only person in the room. Nothing is more attractive than someone who gives their full, undivided, deeply engaged attention. These 8 habits don't require you to change who you are. They just require you to show up as the most grounded, present, confident version of yourself. And when you do that, attraction happens naturally. So here's the truth about attraction. It's not luck. It's not randomness. It's not magic or fate or cosmic alignment. Attraction is psychology. It's a beautiful, complex blend of first impressions, body language, scarcity, similarity, reciprocity, presence, and emotional safety. Your brain is constantly running this algorithm in the background, scanning for signals, evaluating compatibility, assessing chemistry. And now that you understand how that algorithm works, now that you can see the code running beneath the surface, you'll start noticing these patterns everywhere. In your own feelings, in other people's behavior, in every interaction you have. So here's my question for you. Which of these 8 attraction principles surprised you the most? Which one have you experienced in your own life? Was it the power of first impressions, the importance of body language, the magnetic pull of scarcity, the comfort of similarity? Drop a comment below and let me know. I genuinely want to hear which principle resonated with you and how you've seen it play out in your relationships. And if you found this video valuable, if you learned something about yourself or about human psychology that you didn't know before, do me a huge favor. Hit that like button right now.